Alrighty folks, so I just finished watching Netflix's new movie Things Heard and Seen, starring James Norton and Amanda Seyfried. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name. It looks like it could go one of two ways, but I'm hoping I got it right. Kind of your typical Netflix horror movie mixed with a little bit of supernatural. There wasn't anything too crazy in this. There wasn't a bunch of jump scares. And honestly, the most intriguing part of the movie, I think, was the husband in this movie, George, played by James Norton. Because as soon as I started watching this movie, as soon as I turned this thing on, I got immediate douchebag vibes from him. I don't know if it was his hair or the way the actor was, just something about him just gave off just total douche vibes. And I will say there wasn't a ton of, I would say, moving parts in this. It was very straightforward and basic. There wasn't a ton of major twists in the movie. So this follows Catherine and George, a married couple. They move into this new house. Of course, it's Anna, go figure. But George is a teacher. He accepted this job. He's an art teacher. So he starts off just immediately unlikable, cheats on his wife with this girl named Willis, I believe. Played by that woman in Stranger Things, Natalie something. And the wife, Catherine, she's got her own issues throughout the movie. I'm not sure if she's some kind of anorexic or just doesn't eat, but throughout the movie you kind of realize George is just lying about literally everything. He's got a lot of fraudulent activities in his life. Later in the movie you find out he kind of took the identity of his cousin in terms of being a painter because it wasn't him. You realize he's just a fraud. And he makes excuses like, oh, I don't like painting anymore and all this, but you see all these paintings and then you kind of put the pieces together at the end. Also, he forged his paperwork to get his teaching job at this school. He kind of pulls off some weird rapey vibes in the middle of the movie with this other woman. He's kind of holding her down. It's just like, oh god, you realize this guy is just the worst of the worst. Now, there's a whole backstory of another woman who died in this house. And usually when you're going into these horror movies, the spirits are always nasty and coming after you. And when you see the woman, you're kind of like, oh, here we go. But it turns out she was pretty much a victim and trying to help out Catherine throughout this whole movie. And you go down a whole laundry list. There's been so many people that have died in this house. It's pretty much just predetermined to end in complete chaos. Now, George, he pretty much starts unraveling throughout this entire movie. I guess the dean of the school or somebody that's higher up essentially finds out that his paperwork is forged, so he's going to lose his job. Bam, he's going to be gone after that. And the woman that he was being really creepy with, she finds out he's been cheating on his wife and all this, and so everyone's pretty much going against him. And I will say one thing about this movie, they didn't really show too much of the violence on screen because he takes the dean of the school out on his boat, so he pretty much takes care of him out on the open sea. I'm guessing just dumps his body. We don't get to see any of it. It's all done off screen. And the woman who finds out about him cheating, he runs her off the road but does not complete the job because she ends up in the hospital. And then at the end, his wife's pretty much trying to run away with their daughter. And Catherine is trying her best to get away, call the cops. But he actually spiked her drink, so she's trying her best, trying to get to the phone, but she's just fading. And even the spirit, the woman who also died by her husband's hand in the house, could not get her there. She almost got there, was trying to type 911, but wasn't fast enough, and he ends up killing her. And this little slimeball, he tries calling the police and trying to get a little bit of a frame job going against one of the neighbors that was helping them out around them a lot, and that actually were the kids of the people who lived in the house previously. But the woman that he ran off the road, she was in the hospital, I guess in a little bit of a coma. She wakes up and it's pretty much at the point where he's donezo. And throughout the movie there was this painting and book, Heaven and Hell, which kind of foreshadowed the ending. And Georgie, I don't know what his plan was. He goes out in a massive storm on his boat and just starts screaming at the sky. And the movie kind of ends just like, alright, I guess it's all done off screen. We don't see him die. We just see him screaming at the sky. And the picture of the book Heaven and Hell, which is pretty much insinuating that he's gonzo. He's going into the afterlife. The sky looks exactly like it does in the book, and essentially that's the end of George. He's done, although it's kind of ambiguous. I doubt he ended up surviving, so I think the storm just took him away and destroyed his life. And like I said in the beginning, there was not a ton of twists. It was kind of generic, and you kind of predicted everything that was going on. Maybe a few things here and there that you didn't expect, but I'd say overall it was decent. I'm not a big movie guy, I'm more of a TV show kind of person, so if you can keep me off my phone for, I think the movie was around 2 hours, then I'd say you've done your job. I'd give it like maybe a 6.5, a 7 out of 10, not sure. It was alright. Like I said, it was nothing spectacular, but it wasn't total trash either. I thought it was decent. And I'm not really into the horror movies all the time. Netflix kind of just pumps those out, I feel like, at a high rate. And it's, the haunted house storyline. So it's definitely nothing new or exciting necessarily. It's kind of generic, but decent for what it was. But yeah, that's going to do it for my babbling on this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that is going to do it for this video. Peace out.